We got Jose Shorty Torres back here on the program, and I wish this was under better circumstances, but of course the news came out yesterday that he is no longer a member of the UFC roster. I feel like it was just the other day we were talking about your debut in the UFC. Jose, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. How about yourself? It's crazy how, again, 2 days ago I was a UFC fighter. Yesterday I wake up a free agent, and today I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Yeah, you've been doing the rounds, man, and it's great to see the support that's come behind you with everything that's happened. I want to start first with the Demetrius Johnson Ben Askren trade. When that's happening, are you getting worried at all at that point, or did you just figure, hey, this is just Demetrius moving on, and the division will be fine?
It's crazy. So I do definitely want to start off with the support. It's been amazing. Again, I started off my day at the bottom of the world. Now I'm at the top, and it's just outstanding to see so many people come behind me. Even UFC flyweights have hit me up. Jared Brooks, Alex Perez, my two former opponents, Ray Borg, and so many more, just saying like, "Hey, man, we wish the best for you, and best of luck." And it's awesome to hear. But man, actually, so people who don't know, I have my own YouTube series called Inside Team Shorty, where I did talk about that. I saw the DJ being traded, and I was like, "Hold on, wait, I see the no one's looking at the big part. Looking at the big part of the picture, the flyweight division." The UFC wanted to get rid of, or Dana White preferably, wanted to get rid of the flyweight division when we had the best possible thing in UFC's history, which is the most title defenses ever with Demetrius Johnson when he was there. But then he's gone. Business wise, again, we're all talented fighters. Business wise, what do we have to offer? Honestly, nothing. No one's a Conor McGregor there. No one's bankable yet. No one knows anyone else besides the champion. But no one, no offense to Cejudo, but no one wants to see a wrestler just take you down and hold you down. So it's the fact of what's next for us. And well, sadly, I called it, and that's what happened today.
So when did you actually find out you were released? Like, did you find out the whole division was axed at the time, or you just found out that you were released? How did that work?
So, I believe I posted my video sometime last week, Thursday, and I posted out a couple days after the trade was officially announced, and I was like, okay, let me have Lex McMahon, my manager, call Mick Maynard, see what happens, and he goes, hey, Mick said there's no thoughts about cutting it, and then a few days later, we get a call back from Mick, and he says, okay, we have some thoughts on cutting it. We don't know how anything's going to be figured out. We don't know who we're keeping. We don't know how we're doing this. And immediately I proposed, like, hey, I'm more than happy to fight at 35. If anything, since you're cutting in 2019, let me bump up. And sometime in December, I'll take a last-minute fight and prove myself that I can compete. And they naturally looked at my last fight and go, well, you lost your last fight and you won your first fight by a fluke. No, you can't compete at 35, so you're cut. And that wasn't just McMahon, that was both him and Sean Shelby. So it's like, hold on, but did you see what I did in Titan? I was a two-weight class champion, and four of my professional wins were at 35, two of them being title fights, and my whole amateur career was practically at 35 with two world championships with that as well. So I can compete. You're just not giving me the opportunity. But then you have, again, I'm not trying to shun any of the other flyweight competitors, but then you have Mark Delarosa and Joby Sanchez fighting at 35 and been scheduled at 35 for Denver this weekend. Hold on, they're both new to the UFC as well. Why are they getting a chance and I'm not? Again, I have a resume. We're just going to completely ignore that? Oh, okay. And I received my release papers yesterday morning. I woke up from a call by Lex McMahon at 8 in the morning. He's like, yeah, man, you were right, and sadly, I think because you brought it up first, you were let go.
Wow. Okay. Well, playing devil's advocate on the Delarosa fight, like he had that fight booked, a few weeks ago, right? So
Oh yeah, yeah,
it seemed to me like this was sort of just a decision. They're like, okay, today we're doing it, we're getting rid of it. There's no reasoning, like you said, because it seemed like last week that wasn't the case, but here we are today talking about a division that no longer exists in the UFC.
yeah. So the thing is, like, with the Delarosa Joby fight, given that I believe that was at 35, like you said
Hmm.
originally,
Yeah.
but they were both competitors before Joby filled in. They were both flyweights, so
Right.
something might have been in the works before then. And I honestly, when I talked to Mick, there was no, hey, how are you going to cut the division? We don't know yet. It's like, well, my natural perspective is you're just going to bump up a lot of guys to 35, have a lot of fights, because I think this is most the flyweights have fought. I think there's two or three bouts scheduled for this weekend's fight, and out of nowhere, so you're telling me every guy who loses, excuse me, you're telling me every guy who loses is maybe going to be cut? Because I think Ariel Hawani just posted it out. If legally, if you lose or coming off of a loss, they can cut you, even though you have more fights in your contract, like myself. So it's like, oh man, that's really, they're not just fighting for money now or to stay alive. They're fighting for their whole contract. That's really messed up.
For some reason, your video froze. I don't know. I can hear you fine. Just your video for some reason's off. I don't know if you want to maybe hit the camera off and then try it, putting it on again. Maybe that'll do the trick. I'm not sure.
All right, how about
Yeah,
now?
there you go. Yeah, now you're good.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
no worries, no worries. It happens. Yeah, just one more thing on the Delarosa fight as well, though, that I don't think is common knowledge. But that fight against Espinoza was at 35 because that was a short notice fight, if you remember. A
Yeah.
lot of the websites had it wrong, saying that it was flyweight, and the only reason I know that is because I talked to Mark and he said that it was a 35 fight. But I get what you're saying though, where it's like, why are they booking all these people when they're just deciding to get rid of it? It seems very odd. I think the other thing as well that's a little bit confusing is, you have all these guys that they send on Contender Series. Like, why are they getting precedence over guys that are already on the roster? I think if anything, they should have had a pecking order there to a certain degree. I'm honestly surprised though, like you mentioned with the UFC, your UFC run, that they didn't look at the stuff outside of it, because anyone I think or any fan, anyone that's watched you fight knows that your signing to the UFC was long overdue. So I'm a bit confused by that as well.
And I think it's going to bring a lot of problems to the bantamweight division. Now you're going to overflow a division that's already full. You're cutting 35 plus fighters possibly, and maybe let's just say minimum 10 fighters moving up to the bantamweight division. You're not just overflowing a division, but you're keeping the guys in LFA, Titan, all these other regional promotions trying to get into the UFC from ever getting in there, because it's just overflowed, and they're not going to be wanting to sign new material, new fighters. So it really is going to be bad for the smaller weights, but there's so much more now, and I'm starting to find out even today from all the outpour that there's so much more than just the UFC.
Do you ever see the UFC bringing back the division? Jared Brooks, when I spoke to him, he feels like down the line they might be able to bring it back, but for now it's not a hot commodity right now. It needs some time to sort of just not be there and see if it's like that ex-girlfriend where, if you really love her, she'll come back type thing, right?
What's the fact of there's you got to look at it from a different point of view. Is can they bring it back? I think they can bring back anything. Hell, they can bring men's strawweight if they want to. Is it going to be worth for them bringing it back? And I really don't believe so. If they're cutting it now, they're just not trying to invest in it. I mean, WME itself, owning the UFC, has been making nothing but money fights and doing things that involve a lot of money. So cutting the flyweight division is saving them a lot of income and going. They're always on UFC Fight Pass prelims. The average fan does not order UFC Fight Pass prelims. They go to a bar to watch Fox or the pay-per-view. So no one knows Justin Scoggins, Jared Brooks, and myself. Sadly, and I believe we're all phenomenal fighters. It just so happens that we're not put out there. Anyone could be as popular as Colby Covington, but you know why Colby Covington's popular? Not because of his mouth. It's because the UFC is publicizing that as well. They just never gave us a chance to do it. It's a relationship 50-50, and we can only do so much if the UFC is not doing anything for us. So for us, I think as fighters, I mean, I'm not saying we need a union or we need this, but Jared Brooks, Justin Scoggins also got released. It's just one of those things. It's like we were all, in a sense, disrespected. We also had full contracts. I think Jared Brooks was at his he just finished his, but he was let go even after a last-minute win. And it's one of those things, do we want to come back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
never got a full fight. I had 29 days, 2 months to train for two fighters. 9 days to fight for Jared Brooks in 26 pounds. And then which if I would have missed weight, I was told I was going to be cut. Hold on, wait, but you had Mackenzie Dern miss weight by like 6 pounds and she's still fighting? Oh, we're just going to pick favorites and forget the small guys? Okay, that's not fair at all.
Yeah.
And then my next fight against Alex Perez, I had a 2-week delay. Just, okay, cool, you're going to relax. You will maybe fight in October, November. Actually, you're going to fight August 4th. You want to take the fight? I didn't know you could say no. I said yes. I had to lose another 28 pounds to fight Alex Perez, and I lose one fight out of 33 straight wins, and they go, no, you can't compete at 35. Sorry, buddy, you're out.
Is the plan, though, are you considering fighting at bantamweight just because it seems like there are more options? Like you could fight in Bellator. They have a bantamweight division. Is that something you're considering?
So I talked to Bellator originally before the UFC, and that was the original plan to go 35, but something happened to where it just never became a full thing to where like, oh, cool, we're going to do it. And then sadly, by the end of it, they're like, you know what? We were interested in you, just not exactly right now in the time they're actually struggling with their bantamweight division like the UFC was struggling with their flyweight division. So it's like, Okay, I see they're not trying to invest any money right now. That's perfectly fine. I get it. So I respect Bellator, and that's something that it might be in the future. But for me, I don't see why I can't do what I did in Titan FC in any other promotion. I mean, the four promotions I'm looking at right now are Brave, ONE FC, Rise and Arisen, however you want to pronounce it. KSW is all phenomenally growing promotions. I think one right now is ahead of the competition when it comes to the flyweights. But Brave is a promotion that is just coming out of nowhere from the Middle East, and they travel worldwide. I think they're on their 18th event, and I mean they've been to like 5 different continents. You know, what promotion have you known that's grown that fast? And they just are starting their first ever flyweight championship belt next week, which I'll be commentating for. So being there in person and just seeing how the show is going to be run, I'm excited to see how everything's going to go. And we've already been in talks of a possible contract. So Brave is already going, oh, hey, well, you're released? Oh, man, you're going to have a great time next week. We're going to talk to you for sure. And it's like, that's phenomenal to know that, you know, that's a promotion I know will definitely respect me. But it's a business as well, and I got to see what's going to be the best opportunity for me because, you know, I don't want to be treated like I was in the UFC.
So, by the sounds of it, there's no possibility we could see you on the Titan card that's coming up in Kazakhstan, which they just announced.
You can see me on the Titan card, but you cannot see me fighting there. I will be there, but I don't know if I'm going to be in the background or if I'm going to be commentating. That depends on Kamaru Usman and his schedule, just because he is the main commentator. But overall, I will be there. I will be showing my face, and I'm excited to see these great fighters, not from just my country, but from Kazakhstan and more.
What was the best message you got today? You mentioned a lot of fighters reached out to you. Was there one that sort of stood out where maybe it was someone you didn't expect to get in touch with you, or what's the latest there?
I wouldn't say there was, you know, a better message than some, but I had so many fighters from so many different promotions. I mean, even guys that have been cut from the UFC and now are phenomenal, and KSW and other promotions, and they're just like, dude, there's so much out there for you. I'm sorry for this for happening to you, but you have such a huge resume that whatever promotion takes you, you're gonna shine like nothing else. And it gives me motivation because again, it's you think about it, you're a little kid, you're a millennial growing up, you just go, man, I want to be in the UFC, I want to be in the UFC, I want to be in the UFC, and then you get to it and realize, oh man, this was crap. They treated me like dirt, and they never looked at my resume, they never looked at anything. You would think a job interview would try to hire the best guy, but for some reason, I was hired last and fired first. So it's like, how is this going to work out if I wanted to come back? Do I want to come back? Right now, definitely no. But you know, it gives me that much more room to grow. Again, I'm 26 years old, so I have so much room for opportunity, and that's the messages I've been getting. It's just like again from respective veterans and going, dude, you have so much room to grow and see where this goes. And I'm excited for you. It's very uplifting. Again, I was at the bottom, you know, feet in the mud yesterday, but I'm on top of the world today.
Where are you training right now? That's one thing I wanted to ask because I know you were in Colorado training at Elevation. I know you were at American Top Team for a while. I don't know if that's still an option. What is the late? Because you're sort of a nomad these days.
Yeah, I mean, all the gyms are an option. American Top Team is a phenomenal gym. That's something that, or someplace I definitely want to go back to. And given I was getting ready to go back to, if I would have had a fight scheduled, but sadly, hey, I don't have a fight scheduled. They have so many bodies. I mean, the guys in the division, which I feel really bad for Josier Formiga because now he's number one contender, not getting the title shot that he respectfully deserves. But I get to train with him, Pedro Munhoz, Hannah Brown, so many more guys. Adriano Moraes, a ONE FC former flyweight champion, and so many more. It's Eric Shelton fighting this week, and the roster is just ridiculous. But for me, I was in Denver for about a month. I was training with Dwayne Ludwig. I was training with Trevor Whitman, which was freaking amazing. I was training with some guys getting ready for the Denver card, some guys getting ready for future UFC cards. Justin Gaethje, which I called my bigger version of myself. I'm a small version of him, and getting to spar with him was freaking awesome. People were filming it like, dude, it's just a telephone booth. You guys never moved. Yeah, so that was definitely a blast, and I learned so much. But it just sucks to hear that I worked so hard to redeem myself from my last fight, and I'm not getting a chance to do that. You know, and it's again, the average fan naturally perceives it as I can't fight because they don't know anything about my Titan FC fights, which is again a bummer. But I want to prove people wrong, and you know, I guess I'm gonna have to do that at a different promotion. But right now, I'm at Combat Dome, my home gym in Chicago, Illinois. But until then, I like to travel, train, and just get the best out of every single gym.
Last question, or sort of a, yeah, it's more of a question, but silver lining in this whole thing, you get sponsors again. I mean, are you excited about that? That you don't just have to rep Reebok. There will be other, opportunities because we were talking off air. The marketing side of what you've been doing, it seems to be working out quite well with your YouTube channel and everything else.
Yeah, the marketing side has been fantastic, and the thing is, I think it comes at the best time possible because naturally everyone sees UFC. So even if they see my blue check mark and the number of followers I have, like that's cool. But when they see I'm a UFC fighter, they go, "Oh, he's a professional fighter. He's the NFL, MLB, whatever, National Hockey League, stuff like that. We're gonna give you stuff. That's cool." But now since I had that, I can say I'm a UFC veteran and transfer over and go, "Hey, sponsors, remember you guys didn't want to pay me monthly because obviously you couldn't pay me for the fight." Or hey, remember how I couldn't represent you, but you really wanted to help me? Now's the opportunity. That's something I'm most excited for because again, look at Brendan Schaub when he started talking about it. He lost thousands of dollars, and he's like, dude, I made 2,500 in one fight when I used to make 100,000 off of sponsorships. So it's the same fact of I know I think I made 3,500 or 2,500. My last two fights from the Reebok sponsorships. I easily could have tripled that or quadrupled that because of how much of a great support system I have, and that's something I'm extremely excited for. It's just a stacked banner.
I'm wishing you all the best going forward. We're still going to be doing these interviews. It doesn't stop. I think first pro fight we did the interview, and leading up to the UFC, and honestly, and I mean this sincerely, like you deserve a lot better than what happened with the UFC. I couldn't believe the way they've treated you. So I'm sure greater pastures are ahead. In the meantime, just remind people where they can find you on social media, where they can find your YouTube channel, and you got those T-shirts and sweaters. I see you're wearing it there. Where can they find those as well too?
Yeah, I feel like I've just got out of a really bad abusive relationship, but and I'm not going back to it. I'm done.
Yeah.
But for me, if people want to follow me, Instagram Jose Shorty Torres, Facebook Jose Shorty Torres MMA, Twitter Shorty Torres 125. If you want to follow my YouTube series Inside Team Shorty, where I give the reality, the truth, and everything behind the scenes of MMA, that was actually probably one of the reasons why I got cut early because I did post a video about it. And lastly, if people want to purchase merchandise like I'm wearing right now, it doesn't just help me, but 20% out of all the earnings go to the kids in my gym so they can travel, train, compete, and I do little scholarship programs so they can do that. And again, it's teamshorty.com. Everything ships worldwide, and I appreciate all the love and support, guys, and that's why I say we can, we will. Together we are Team Shorty.